So here's the biggest misconceptions for beginners when they start brewing Gongfu tea. They think they need a complete set to begin, but that usually makes everything harder. You spend money on stuff that you don't understand, your table get cluttered, and the whole process feels complicated. The truth is, Gongfu tea can start really simply. You just need a few basics to learn the method, and you add the tools only when a real need shows up. Hi, Chris here. In today's video, I'm going to break 16 common Gongfu tea tools into 3 categories and explain what each one does, so you can choose the one that actually makes sense to your tea setup. So for the first category, they are must-have Gongfu tea tools. These are the few tools you actually need to start Gongfu tea. If you are brand new, just focus on this. First up on the list is the Gaiwan. A Gaiwan is basically a bowl with a lid, and it's probably the most common main brewing vessels you will see in Gongfu tea session. The big plus is that it's super versatile. It doesn't hold on to flavor, so you can use it for pretty much any tea. The only downside is that it can feel a little tricky at first, and you do need to spend a bit of time practicing with it. When it comes to material, I always recommend ceramic. And if you don't know how to use a Gaiwan yet, we actually have a video that walks you through how to use Gaiwan properly. I'll put the link below. Next up is the fairness pitcher, also called a cha hai. A cha hai is just a small pitcher you pour the tea into before it goes into the serving cups. The main reason people use it is to even the flavor, so nobody ends up with a strong cup or a weak cup. You pour everything from your Gaiwan or teapot into the pitcher, then pour it into tasting cup to serve. If you're serving more than one person, it's always recommended. If you're drinking solo, it's optional, but still nice to have if you want your cup to stay consistent. And the last thing on the must-have list is the tasting cup. Tasting cups or serving cups are small cups made for Gongfu tea. It's usually small with wide opening, and it typically holds around 20 to 50 millimeters. You just receive a tea from a fairness pitcher, wait until it feels comfortable to drink and sip. And if you're serving guests, this is absolutely part of the setup. Now, with just those 3, your main brewing vessels, your tea pitcher, and your cups, you can already run a full Gongfu tea session. That's everything you need for the whole process: brew, pour, and serve. So next, let's talk about the tools that are not essential but nice to have. They will level up the whole experiences, especially once you're getting the hang of Gongfu brewing. So let's move on to the next category. First up in this category is the tea tray. Tea trays usually come in 2 styles. One is the bigger draining type. The water runs through holes and goes into the bucket or drain. It's convenient once it's set up, but it's not very portable. You usually need a tea table to set it up. The other type is a small portable tray with a reservoir underneath. It collects the water and you just empty it after you finish your session, which is nice if you're brewing on the small table or desk. If you don't have a tea tray yet, there are a couple of small alternatives that work just as well. I will show those coming up. Next up is a teapot. The teapot is basically another main brewing vessel for Gongfu tea, just like the Gaiwan. Big plus is that it holds heat really well, which can be great for teas like harder, more stable brew. The only downside is that if the pot is made of clay, it can absorb tea aroma over time. That's not a bad thing, but it does mean you usually want to dedicate it to one type of tea instead of switching between everything. Using a teapot is straightforward. You add tea, pour the water at the right temperature, steep briefly, and then pour the teas out. If you are drinking a lot of oolong or pu'er, or you like the tea with richer body, a teapot can be a really nice upgrade. But if you only want one brewing tool that works for basically anything, the Gaiwan is still the more versatile tool. Next up is a host cup. A host cup is basically your personal cup. It's like a tasting cup, but usually bigger, often around 40 to 100 millimeters. The main benefits is that it makes solo section easy and comfortable. If you're brewing by yourself, you can pair a Gaiwan with a host cup without the fairness pitcher and keep things super simple. If you're hosting a tea session, it's also a nice thing to have your personal cups while others use matching tasting cups. But it's not really necessary if you're happy using normal tasting cup. Now, the tools that people overlook the most might be the next one, a Gongfu tea brewing kettle. The biggest differences compared to regular electric kettle is that it has a long curved neck, so the pour feels more controlled and smoother. It lets you control the pouring height, speed, and position. But if you already have a regular electric kettles, you are totally fine. A Gongfu style kettle is just a nice upgrade when you want a better brewing experiences. And you can also use a coffee brewing kettle as an alternative. Moving on, the next tool is an Aroma Cup. Aroma Cups come in specific shape. It's tall, narrow cup designed specifically for smelling tea. Because of its shape, it concentrates the aroma. So it's great for teas that are known for fragrance like oolong. You put tea from the Fairness cup into an aroma cup first, then you bring it close to your nose and smell the fragrance. After that, you pour the tea from the aroma cup into a regular tasting cup. And then you taste the tea. You can also drink tea directly using the aroma cup itself. Next up, we've got the Teapot. The Teapot is commonly used in dry brewing method. That means you don't use a large wet tea tray when brewing Gongfu style. It comes in many shapes. Basically, it is a bowl or a small tray that holds your Gaiwan or teapot and catches drips. A teapot is really handy if you go into dry brewing method Gongfu setup, especially if you prefer using a teapot. You can just pour hot water over the teapot to keep temperature up. And if you're brewing this style, you don't need a bulky tea tray at all. It makes Gongfu tea easier to do pretty much anywhere. Moving on, this tool might feel a bit underrated in Gongfu tea setup, but it's actually very practical. It's a lid holder. It mainly gives you Gaiwan lid or teapot lid a place to rest when you are refilling. So it's not touching the table or tea tray. That way everything stays cleaner and you are less likely to bump or chip the lid. Moving on is the cutest Gongfu tea tools. I mean, who wouldn't want a cute tea companion on the table? In Gongfu tea, people often pull out the first brew, what you might hear called raising the tea. So instead of dumping it away, people start pouring that first brew over a teapot. It's like feeding it, and over time you're basically raising it. Classic teapots are made from clay, so that slowly absorb the tea, develop color over time. Some even changes colors when you put hot teas on them. And a lot of them also carry a lucky or auspicious meanings, which add a nice bit of good energy to your tea table. Alright, so we covered the must-haves and the nice-haves. The stuff that actually make Gongfu tea easier and enjoyable. Now we are getting into the optional tools. You can still brew perfectly fine without them, but if you want a more precise brewing experiences or a more completely setup, you can choose those based on your specific brewing needs. First up on this category is the digital scale. If you ever brewed a tea that randomly turns out way too strong or too weak, this is the tool that fixes that. The digital scale helps you weigh your leaves, so your tea to water ratio stay consistent, especially when you are still dialing things in. Next up is the tea strainer. Tea strainer is just a small filter that sits on top of a fairness pitcher and catches tea particles, so your tea pour out cleaner. Do you always need it? Not really. You can also just let the tiny bit settle in the fairness pitcher for a moment, then pull out gently. Your tea strainer most come in ceramic and stainless steel, and if you can pick one with a little base, like this one here, so it can sit on the table neatly without dripping everywhere. Moving on to the tea towel. A tea towel is your tea table cleaning cloth. You use it to wipe drips, dry the bottom of cups and pots, and keep your table from getting wet and messy. If you don't have a tea tray or tea bowl, you can even lay it down and use it like a simple tea mat. Next up is tea scoop, also called 茶则. If you ever tried to load leaves into a teapot and they went everywhere, this tool just makes sense. A tea scoop helps guide the leaves neatly into your Gaiwan or teapot, especially when your opening is small. It's also works a simple way to present the tea leaves before brewing. Now, moving to the final piece of this video, the wasting water bowl. The wasting water bowl is very practical when it comes to dry brewing, especially during a tea session. It catches all the extra stuff on the tea table. Unfinished tea, used leaves, things like that. People can also pull out the tea left in their cups during the session, especially when you are moving to the next brew. It works especially well with the tea bowl or small tea tray, since you don't have a big reservoir to catch everything. Instead of letting water build up, it can just pour it straight onto the bowl and keep things clean. Alright, that's it for today's video. If you want a more detailed guide, we actually have a full article that covers 20 Gongfu tea tools. I will put the link in the description below. If this video helped, please like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.